What's good, y'all? I'm Jerry, about to check out how good was Prime Undertaker in the WWE. This video is about Wrestle Fusion. Prime Undertaker, I don't even know when Undertaker's prime was, because he put on good matches in the mid-2000s as well as like 2009, 2010. He was still putting on good matches in the 90s and the early 2000s as well. But I want to say this video might depict his 2004 to like 2010 run with WWE. And he just had crazy matches against JBL, Batista, Edge, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and the list go on and on. But we about to hop into this video and see how good Prime Undertaker actually was in WWE. Let's go.
When you talk about wrestling legends, there's one name that sends chills down every wrestling fan's spine: The Undertaker. For over 3 decades, the dead man has been the most supernatural force in sports entertainment, and his WrestleMania streak became the stuff of legend. But here's the thing. While everyone remembers the epic entrances, the trench coat, and the theatrics, not everyone realizes that some of Undertaker's absolute best work happened during a specific 5-year window from 2007 to 2012. The guy was already in his 40s, he had been wrestling for nearly 2 decades, and yet somehow delivered some of the most memorable matches and storylines of his entire career. We're talking about epic battles with Edge, a twisted family feud with Kane, and those legendary classics with Triple H and Shawn Michaels that redefined what a WrestleMania match could be. So how good was The Undertaker during his
prime?
What made this run so special?
It's like you couldn't really tell what his prime was. He was so good.
Stale after 15 years, somehow reached new heights when most wrestlers his age were winding down their careers. Let's revisit the saga of The Undertaker's prime, starting with one of the most monumental Royal Rumble
WrestleMania 23
history. January 28th, 2007, the Royal Rumble. 29 wrestlers had already entered the match. The Great Khali was destroying everything in sight, and then the gong hit. The Undertaker made his entrance as the 30th and final participant. Prior to this, nobody had entered and won the Royal Rumble from the number 30 spot. But The Undertaker wasn't just any normal wrestler. Taker quickly eliminated Khali and started to systematically dismantle the competition, one soul at a time. He took out Rated RKO and finally threw out Shawn Michaels to become the first man ever to win the Rumble from the 30th spot. This victory gave Undertaker a guaranteed World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania.
Then he had to make his choice.
No time to lock
He chose Batista.
Batista was the dominant World Heavyweight Champion on SmackDown.
It made sense that they're both on SmackDown.
To be a battle of 2 of wrestling's biggest powerhouses. WrestleMania 23 delivered everything fans hoped for. Undertaker versus Batista was a hard-hitting affair that showcased both men in their absolute prime. When Undertaker finally put Batista away, he didn't just win the World Heavyweight Championship, he extended his WrestleMania streak to 15-0. But Batista wasn't done. Their rematch at Backlash was a last-man-standing match that ended in a draw, and their steel cage encounter on SmackDown also finished without a clear winner. But then came the moment that changed everything.
Edge.
After that brutal steel cage match, Mark Henry returned and destroyed an already battered
Mark Henry, then Edge.
Saw his opportunity, rushed to the ring, and cashed in.
I remember watching it on TV.
Briefcase. 2 spears later, and Undertaker's championship reign was over. The injury at the hands of Henry wrote Undertaker off television for months, but it also set up one of the
I think he came back around Survivor Series.
Edge had cost him the World Heavyweight Championship, and when the dead man returned, there would be hell to pay. The stage was set for a feud that would push both men to their absolute limits. When The Undertaker returned at Unforgiven in September, Mark Henry learned exactly why you don't.
I was actually there at that pay-per-view.
But Henry was just the appetizer.
They had that in
Edge
Memphis.
was the main course, and Undertaker had 4 months of frustration to unleash. Their feud became a chess match of mind games. Batista still wanted his rematch. Edge was playing his usual cunning games, and Vicky Guerrero was doing everything possible to protect her on-screen husband. The triple threat match at Armageddon saw Edge steal another victory thanks to outside interference, but everyone knew this.
The Major Brothers.
The 2008 Royal Rumble gave us something special. Undertaker and Michaels, the 2 finalists from last year's Rumble,
They kicked the Rumble off.
And gave us a glimpse of the classic that was about to change the wrestling world a year later. But for now, Taker had unfinished business with Edge. At No Way Out, Undertaker dominated the SmackDown Elimination Chamber and destroyed 5 other wrestlers to earn his shot at Edge. WrestleMania 24 was redemption time. The Citrus Bowl in Orlando became the destination of Undertaker's revenge. When he locked in that Hell's Gate submission and Edge had no choice but to tap out, it felt like justice had finally been served. 16 WrestleMania victories and his second World Heavyweight Championship, all at Edge's expense. But Edge wasn't finished making Undertaker's life
Won a rematch.
miserable. Vicky Guerrero banned the Hell's Gate submission and stripped Taker of the championship.
I remember they
leading to
banished
a
him from
brutal TLC
SmackDown.
match at One Night Stand, where Edge managed to defeat The Undertaker using every cheap tactic possible. The stipulation forced Taker to leave WWE for months,
Yep.
but the dead man wouldn't stay buried for long. After Vicky's fallout with Edge, she reinstated The Undertaker, and the dead man was back.
I remember he tombstoned her. That's the reason why she was in that wheelchair.
Edge inside Hell in a cell. It felt like the ultimate payoff to months of storytelling. Taker chokeslammed Edge through the ring canvas and sent him to hell, putting an end to this classic rivalry. But as one legendary feud ended, an even more
HBK.
iconic chapter was about to begin. After destroying Edge and Big Show for the majority of 2008, it was WrestleMania season. And when it was WrestleMania season, the dead man was sure to rise. After defeating names like Batista, Randy Orton, and Mark Henry at previous chapters of Mania, it felt like The Undertaker had ran out of meaningful opponents.
Yep.
Then Shawn Michaels stepped up, and suddenly we had the most iconic storyline of 2009. This wasn't just about championships or bragging rights. This was about legacy, faith, and the one statistic that haunted The Undertaker: he had never beaten Shawn Michaels in a singles match, ever. HBK had Undertaker's number going back to the late 90s, and everyone knew it. But Michaels took their WrestleMania 25 build-up to a completely different level. The man had become a born-again Christian in real life, and he used that faith to play mind games with Taker. HBK started preaching about saving
Taker's soul, condemned his dark supernatural gimmick, and outsmarted Taker at every step of their Mania build. The entrances at WrestleMania 25 told the whole story. Michaels descended from the heavens in pure white, looking like an angel sent to vanquish evil. Then the stage cracked open, smoke poured out, and Undertaker literally rose from the depths of hell itself. Good versus evil, heaven versus hell, and the WrestleMania streak hanging in the balance. What followed was wrestling perfection. These two legends pushed each other to the limit for over 30 minutes. Michaels hit his sweet chin music. Taker connected with the tombstone. Both men kicked out of finishers that had ended countless matches. The crowd was on their feet for the entire match, knowing they were witnessing something special. When Undertaker finally put Michaels away, extending the streak to 17 wins, it felt like the perfect ending to a perfect story. But here's where things went to the next levels. Shawn Michaels couldn't let that match go. For an entire year, HBK obsessed over that loss. He called out The Undertaker, attacked his legacy, and he made it clear that he needed one more shot at the streak. But Taker didn't want the rematch. He'd proven his point at WrestleMania 25. He had moved on with his career. Taker went on to win the World Heavyweight Championship and defended it against the likes of Rey Mysterio, CM Punk, and Batista. He was dominating the blue brand and adding more souls to his collection. So, in a last-ditch effort to get his rematch, Michaels did something desperate. He screwed Undertaker out of the World Heavyweight Championship at Elimination Chamber by interfering in his match. Michaels was willing to destroy his own reputation just to get Undertaker's attention. Finally, Undertaker agreed, but with the ultimate stipulation: if Michaels lost, his career was over. Streak versus career at WrestleMania 26. The stakes couldn't have been higher. No more mind games, no more supernatural theatrics. Just two legends putting their legacy and career on the line at the grandest stage. Their second encounter was different from the first. Where WrestleMania 25 was about in-ring excellence, WrestleMania 26 was pure emotion. Michaels fought like a man with nothing left to lose, because that's exactly what he was. Every near fall felt like it could end both the streak and one of the greatest careers in wrestling history. When Undertaker connected with that final tombstone and the referee counted to 3, it wasn't just another WrestleMania victory, it was the end of Shawn Michaels' career. Mr. WrestleMania himself had wrestled his final match, and The Undertaker had to live with the burden of retiring one of the biggest names in WWE history. The streak had claimed its most important victim yet, and The Undertaker's legacy had reached a whole new level. But this story was far from over. In fact, the game had truly just begun. After retiring Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker got into a brief feud with his brother, Kane, before being sidelined due to injury and disappearing for months. But as Mania season approached once again, you could feel the chills in the air. When those mysterious vignettes started airing in early 2011, everyone knew the dead man was coming back. February 21st, 2011. The Undertaker's music hit on Raw, and the crowd went absolutely crazy. But before he could even speak, Triple H's music interrupted him. The Game stepped out, stared down the dead man, and without saying a single word, both men knew exactly what this meant. This wasn't about championships. This was personal. Triple H had watched his best friend Shawn Michaels get forced into retirement by the Streak, and now he wanted revenge. Not just for HBK, but for all his friends and every superstar who had fallen to the dead man over the years. Their WrestleMania encounter was pure brutality. These two legends beat each other senseless for over 20 minutes in a no-holds-barred match. Triple H threw everything he had at Undertaker: sledgehammer shots, chair shots, pedigrees, you name it. But when the dust settled, Undertaker's hand was raised once again. The Streak had found its 19th victim. But here's what made this victory different. Undertaker had to be carried out on a stretcher. For the first time ever, a WrestleMania victory felt like it might be his last. The man looked broken, finished, done. The future of the Streak looked uncertain, and the dead man was nowhere to be seen for months. There were rumors and speculations of WrestleMania 27 being the end of Taker. Triple H embraced his corporate role, while Taker vanished into the darkness. But just when everyone thought this saga was over, the dead man rose from the grave one more time. After disappearing for almost a year, Taker returned in early 2012. When Undertaker challenged Triple H to a rematch at WrestleMania, Triple H straight up refused. The Game claimed he'd already proven his point, and The Undertaker was too arrogant for his own good. That's when Taker made things personal. He accused Triple H of living in Shawn Michaels' shadow, of never being the man Shawn was, of being afraid to face the truth about his own limitations. Those words cut deep, and Triple H finally snapped. WrestleMania 28 became something special. Hell in a Cell with Shawn Michaels as the special guest referee. The Undertaker trying to extend his streak to 20, Triple H desperate to end it, and HBK caught between his loyalty to his best friend and his respect for the dead man. What we got was 35 minutes of pure storytelling perfection. Triple H brought out every weapon imaginable, including multiple sledgehammer shots that should have ended any normal man's career. Undertaker absorbed punishment that would have hospitalized most wrestlers. At one point, both men were so exhausted they could barely stand, but they kept fighting because neither would give in. The action was emotional, and the crowd was fully invested. Michaels was torn between wanting to protect his friend and respecting the integrity of the match. Triple H was fighting not just for victory, but for vindication after years of playing second fiddle to The Rock, Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, and even The Undertaker himself. When Undertaker finally connected with the Tombstone for the victory, it wasn't just the end of the match, it was the end of an era. What happened after the match was even better. Undertaker and Michaels helped carry an exhausted Triple H to the back, and all three men embraced on the stage. It was respect. Pure, genuine respect between three legends who had given everything they had to create magic. The streak was now 20-0, but more importantly, The Undertaker had proven that even in his 40s, he could still deliver when it mattered most. As those three icons disappeared through the curtain together, everyone in the arena knew they'd witnessed something truly special. The dead man's greatest era was complete, and the streak had become more than just a number. It had become wrestling immortality. After this, Taker would go on to wrestle for almost another decade and rack up wins against names like AJ Styles, Brock Lesnar, and Bray Wyatt. But from 2007 to 2012, The Undertaker had a run of a lifetime. Whether he was the face of SmackDown as the World Heavyweight Champion or protecting his undefeated streak at Mania, every appearance felt like a must-watch attraction. This wasn't just about wins or championships. This was about WWE's gunslinger having a late-career renaissance like no other. Every match felt like it could be his last. Every storyline carried real emotional weight, and every WrestleMania appearance became a must-see event that transcended wrestling itself. This was Taker in his prime, and it was beautiful.